Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the new enterprise application template for Power Platform. Now, the announcement of this template was made on June 7th of 2023 by Ryan Cunningham, and Ryan Cunningham is the Vice President of Power Apps. So when someone like Ryan makes an announcement about these type of enterprise templates, it is in our best interest to take a closer look at it, and that is what we'll accomplish in this video. So we'll first start by taking a closer look at what these applications are, because there's a few templates that are already available and some that are coming soon. Next, we'll spend a closer eye on the Kudos app, and I'll walk you through it step by step, because this application is an enterprise level application, and even if you don't plan to use it for a production, it is still important to go ahead and configure it and do some reverse engineering to learn from it. So stick around, this is very important. There's a lot of neat things that you can learn from this, but first, here's my intro video. So as I was reading through this article, which was written by Ryan Cunningham, there's a few items that I noticed which I want to bring to your attention. So first of all, these templates are not the training tools for beginners. So what does that mean? Well, anytime now you go into Power Apps, you go into Power Automate, you see there's a whole bunch of templates available, both from the app and flow sites. And those are the ones that you can go ahead and add into your environments, do some reverse engineering, see how they work, how are the Power Effects formulas working. Those are the type of learning tools that Ryan was mentioning over there. This is not one of them. So the plus side of it is that this is already pretty much production ready, and therefore it only should be used by those people who are familiar with your apps, your environments, and the deployment of the apps. They are the ones who should be playing with this. This is not a training tool for beginners. Second thing is that this application can only be used by the Power Platform premium licenses. And the reason for that is because the data source for this template is Dataverse. So when you actually go ahead and get it configured in your environment, you will see that there are actually some Dataverse templates automatically there, and they get tied to your apps and flows. That is the whole reason why these are only built for the Power Platform premium level licenses. And by premium, what I mean is the same Power Apps per user or the Power Automate per user. Those are called as premium licenses, which allow you to use the premium connectors, Dataverse being one of them. And finally, there are some template types already available with these. So there is actually two different template types. One is the SAP or the SAP, and the other one is for the HR. The good thing about the SAP or the SAP one is that the finance one is already available. So you can actually go ahead and get that configured and working in your tenant with all the settings available. The second one is for the HR, and that's the one that I'm going to demonstrate to you with the configuration, the Kudos app, because that's also available. And then along with it, in the future, two others are coming in, which I'm really looking forward to. But as of right now, only the Kudos app is there. So now that I've given you a little overview of what this whole enterprise level application template is all about, let's go and set up that Kudos application together. So there are a few prereqs that you need to be aware of. First of all, this uses Dataverse as its database solution. Hence, both the maker and the end users need to have that premium user or Power Apps or Power Automate per user licenses to be able to use this. Hence the term premium users, all right? So that's the first and very important thing. Second thing is have an environment ready where you're allowed to go ahead and use Dataverse as a solution, because there you'll be able to go ahead and actually import that solution in, and then the Dataverse tables will automatically be created. So your environment also needs to have the ability to go ahead and allow Dataverse. And then third and finally, go ahead and see this video of mine. In this video, I actually show you how you can go ahead and use the CLI, which is the command line interface, because at one point you will have to use that to go ahead and get that optional data source in, and that data source will actually go and have some of the galleries already pre-populated, and the data is actually really good. So the app becomes more useful if you go ahead and use that CLI to get some of that data in. So definitely go ahead and watch this video of mine, and then once you've got all of those three prerequisites met, go ahead and start the next section. So here we go. I am going to go ahead and now open up a new tab, and in that new tab, I'm going to appsource.microsoft.com. This is the place where you can go ahead and get all the apps from the source data. And the search bar on the top, I'm going to go and do a search for employee. All right. So that's all you want to do is do a search for employee. Don't put in the employee directory or anything. Just put employee, because right off on the top row itself, you will see the employee Kudos template. That's the one that we want, all right? So again, quick recap, we went to appsource.microsoft.com. On the top, we did a search for employee, and right on the top row itself, you will see the employee's Kudos template. So for that, go ahead and click on Get It Now. It will go ahead and require some of your confirmation details, and then I'll go and click on Get It Now. Now it is taking you to your Dynamics 365 to complete this process. And if you're not familiar about Dynamics 365, don't worry, you don't need to know what this whole Dynamics CRM system is, none of that. It's just saying that I'm going to take you now to your Power Platform section to go ahead and now configure this. So right now we are in the Power Platform Admin Center as well. So it's just a good practice also for something like this, at least to have your environment level access, or at least to go ahead and even be a Power Platform admin to go and set up this one-time configuration. So on the right now, it is saying to install the employee Kudos template, you need to go ahead and select an environment. So for the environment, again, the one that I had selected was my production one, Christian Family Prod. So that's the one that I'm going to come and select over here. All right, so Christian Family Prod. And now it's telling me I just need to go ahead and agree on that. Okay, I'll go and agree both of those things. And then the moment I've agreed on them, the install comes up on the right. And now for some reason, the checkboxes did not stick over there. But as long as you see the install box on the bottom right, you are good to go. So I'll go and click on the install. And now the initial configuration process starts. And this is what it tells you on the top left. It says the employee Kudos template installation started. And it gives you the timestamp, and it gives you the date, and it tells you who actually started it. So this is all good information that is already capturing. Now I'll tell you this, after I went and did this, I basically walked away for a few hours, and then I came back because it does take some time. And once it is finished, the whole solution directly becomes available in your environment. So that right now, all we have to do is patiently wait. One thing I want to call out is that while you're waiting, if you went ahead and refreshed this tab accidentally on your browser and now you've lost that message on the top, don't worry, because you will see this message saying that the employee Kudos template is still in the installation process. So it's actually telling me right now it is installing. So don't kind of freak out that you actually lost that message on the top. Don't worry, because over here you can always come and see at what stage it is. Is it being installed, which is in the installing phase, or has it already been installed? So just keep an eye on that. And the second tip over here is that every once in a while, just go and do a refresh, because it may not come up with the whole message that it is completed. So doing a refresh just gives you that confirmation. So in my case, I waited for a good solid 15 minutes. I didn't really keep track of the exact time it took, but at least for 15 minutes. And then I went in and did a refresh. Now what I was doing was I was doing a full browser level refresh, not just this refresh. And then the next time I did a refresh, I actually saw that the employee Kudos template was installed. So that was the important thing, is just keep an eye on this, and it does take about a good 15 minutes. All right, so the now solution of this entire app is now installed in the Christian Family Prod, which is my environment. So if I now actually go into my environment direct, I can go and close this tab. Right over here, you actually see that this app was actually installed just a few minutes ago in this environment. All right, so it's pretty neat that the whole application is slowly working. And if I now go and click on it, you will notice that it is going ahead and loading. There may be or may not be errors, but what is happening is right now, this is still incomplete. Granted, we went and see all of this, but this is still incomplete. So my recommendation to you is don't go and start clicking on it and start using it. We are not done yet. Right now, as you want to see, is the only thing you want to confirm is, do I see my Kudos app? Do you see our Kudos app? Give yourself a thumbs up, because we come over here to the install and you will see that you are already in step number 2. Now, step number 1 talks about creating these 3 connections. Now, in my case, I didn't have to do it because I was already going ahead and doing the configuration in an existing environment. And when I actually go into my connections, I know that I already have those 3 important connections. The 3 important ones being Microsoft Dataverse connector, M365 Outlook, and Office 365 users. Now, if for some reason you do not have those 3 connectors, or this is a brand new environment that you're using, go ahead and set up these 3 new connections. And for doing that, you basically come and click on your home on apps. If you haven't pinned the connections like I have, that's okay. Click on more, and in more, you will actually see this connections lined up over there. Go ahead and select that. Go to your connections, click on plus new connection, and then start setting up the ones over here. So for example, the Office 365 users, you will see that. Click on it, go ahead and give it the authentication. That'll be one connector. There's the Office 365 Outlook. That connector, you basically go ahead and get all these 3, the Microsoft Dataverse Office 365 Outlook and Office 365 users. Go ahead and set that up, right? So right now, as we stand, we are finished step number 1. We finished step number 2. What we need to do is focus on step number 3. And this is a very important step because now we are slowly going and getting all the access set up for this app level. So do not by any chance skip this step number 3, all right? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move this tab over there so I make sure I don't skip it, and I'm going to follow along over here. So I'm going to click on the home now, and then the first thing that is telling me over here is to go ahead and now go to my admin center, specifically for the environments tab. So it's saying admin center. What it actually means is the Power Platform Admin Center, which is right over here. So I'm going to click on that, and when you click on it, a different environment comes up. So this is important that even if you don't get the full Power Platform Admin Center, you at least need to be the system administrator of that environment because you're going to go and do some of this configuration. So I'm going to go back to click on my environments. In the environments, you got to select the one that you're using. So mine one is right now this production use one. So I'm going to click on that. And then the documentation is saying is that go down to your settings or go up to your settings. I'm clicking on the settings over here. In the settings, go down to your templates, and in the templates, select the access team templates. So that's what we're going to do. I'm click on it and a new tab opens up. That tab looks like it's going to the Dynamics 365 side. Again, don't be alarmed by that. It's just another section to go and do a little bit of configuration. So over here, go ahead and click on the plus new. Another pop-up windows opens up. And over here, the documentation is very specifically saying that go ahead and name it as this one. So I literally did a copy and paste from the documentation, but you go ahead and put in a name that makes sense to you, right? So therefore, this is the name that I've put in. For the entity, there should already be something called as Kudos. This is important because if you don't see this, means that you're setting up of that initial configuration, where you went and actually imported that app, the Dynamics 365 CRM name. If you haven't completed that successfully, you will not see this. So let that be a little bit of a clue that, hey, Daniel, I'm not seeing this Kudos entity over here. Did I miss a step? It's like, yeah, your initial step number 1 was, or step number 2 was completely incomplete. So just make sure that the getting of the application has completed, because if it hasn't, you won't see this. So I'm going to first go and select the Kudos. And then after that, go ahead and put in a description. So here's the description that I'm putting in. I've basically just done a copy and paste from the Microsoft documentation because in this case, it makes sense to me. And then again, the documentation states is that access rights, go ahead and set that as read. Okay, and then now you can go ahead and basically hit 2 birds with 1 stone. If instead of clicking save and then close, just do a save and close. And then after that, it will show up over here. You can leave this tab open or you can go ahead and close it. But this is a very important step, the step number 3 that we've completed. So now we'll go and focus on step number 4. And that step is to set up the security roles of the users. So by the way, you can go ahead and close this tab if you want or leave it open. What we need to do is go back into the Power Platform Admin Center and just make sure that you are in the exact same environment where you go ahead and configure that solution. Now for there, we need to go ahead and select the users, and in the users, we need to go directly to the users tab. Now I want to pause that before we go into the users, I want to quickly take at security roles. So as I click on the security roles and as I go to the top right for search by name, if you just start typing in Kudos, you will see that there are 3 security roles automatically created for you. The employee one, the manager one, and the overall admin, the program admin one. They're already there. But what happens is you still have to go to the user section to add it, because when you click on any one of them over here, there's just a lot of information about the permission level granted at each and every entity, but you just can't go ahead and add users over here, right? So even though you see the security roles section, you still have to go to the individual users, and that is where you go and start adding them. So for example, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and now search for myself, like Daniel Christian. I'll go and select on the radio button, and then on the top, I select the manage security roles. Now, again, this is a real world scenario. I already have an environment. I'm going in and putting in this application over there. Therefore, you already see that I have some roles already selected for me. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see I also have the system administrator role. Something like this could happen to you. But if these are brand new users, then basically what you need to do is make sure you scroll all the way down to at least the ones you see is that the Kudos employee, the Kudos manager, or the Kudos program admin. Which of these 3 do you want to assign to your user? So in my case, I want to at least assign myself as the Kudos program admin. So I will select it. There it is. The radio button is selected. I'll click on save, and now it'll go and finish the loading. and I have been gone ahead and assigned that access level. See, that security level has been updated for Daniel Christian. So you can go ahead and do these for all the other users that you want for the admin level, all the other ones that you want for manager level, and then all the other ones that you want to go ahead and do for the users as well. All right, so just as an example, I'll just come out of this one and on the top right, I'll click on the X. I'll go and search for Fin, and on the Fin, I'll select the radio button, and then I'll go and do a managed security role. And in the managed security role, again, I'll scroll down all the way so I can actually go and find my Kudos app, and that's just going to be for the employee. And I'll go and click on Save. And then you finish on the top left, it'll say security roles have been added for Fin Christian. So this is that important step to now going and assigning security roles directly over here. And in your case, you can go ahead and add a whole bunch of them directly in bulk. You can go ahead and use the combination of teams. This is not the Microsoft Teams team. This is the Power Apps team. And I put a link to that in my description below because you will start to use Teams right over here. See on the top, Manage Teams. You can start to leverage Teams over here. I won't deep dive on that. I'm just saying that option is there. But if you want to understand how to use it, I've done a whole video on that, and the description is down there below. So along with this package or the solution, not only do they come with some Power Apps and Dataverse tables, but there's also some Power Automate flows. So when I was in this environment, I only showed you the Power Apps. See, the administration app also has come through, but we need to now switch gears and focus on the Power Automate. So I'll click on the app launcher, I'll go and click on Power Automate, and when the tab opens up for Power Automate, I just need to make sure that I'm in the exact same environment. And it'll be a good check because over there, I'll be able to go and see my two flows over there as well. So just to make sure, I go to the Power Apps tab, I make sure that that's the environment that I need to be in. I go to the Power Automate, and right now I'm in the same environment, so I'm in good shape. So I'll go and click on the My Flows, and over here I actually just don't see one or two, but I see 4 different flows available, and it's telling me where the actual flow is triggered from. So over here that I see the top 2, these are actually the flows to go, they're tied to the Kudos app, but they're for very specific reasons. And I actually did not see any documentation of this, or at least something I may have missed it directly in the learning document or the installation document. So I just want to call that out, is that one of them is to delete Kudos when a user opts out of it. So it's actually asking you that, hey, does this user want to be a part of it? And if the user does opt out, this flow goes ahead and takes care of the change in the back end. And then the same thing over there is a deactivate receive Kudos when the employee leaves the company. So I like about this app that this truly is an enterprise level app because it's factoring in all of these real world changes that might happen if somebody opts out of this or when an employee leaves the company. These features and these complications are also factored in for this enterprise level application. But for our case, we want to focus on only two flows, which is the Kudos app, which is for the notification email, and again, the Kudos app, share Kudo with the sender. So as you've noticed, by default, both of them are off or disabled, and that's for good reason because we haven't finished the configuring. So let's go and focus on one of them. First is the notification email, and here is the flow. So there's a couple of things happening over here. You might also see this message saying that there's a potential problem with this flow. What that means is that the flow is currently disabled or is turned off. And I know it's off because the turn on option is there. You also get some errors on the top right. You will also see that some of the connection references have some errors. For now, just keep things as is because for this step, we just focus on the bottom right, which is run only users. And for that, I'll go and click on edit. Now you will click on it and it may take a few extra seconds, but this window should slide off from the right. And over here, our focus is on the invite system users or teams. Now remember, this thing only is telling us if you want to directly add users, these are not the Microsoft Teams for communication, but the teams that we go and build it inside the environment, or you can also go ahead and use security group. So this is where I actually went and created my own security group. So my security name group has something called as, and I'll start with PP. And if I do that, right over here, it'll actually tell me the PP employee Kudos. For me, PP stands for Power Platform. That's how I know that it is actually tied to a security group for Power Platform. So I go and select that. And then after that, immediately all the users who have access or immediately all the users who are members of the security group will automatically be able to manage the run only permissions for this one. So that's the first thing that I have to do. That's what the documentation is telling me. So I go ahead and now do this for the Kudos app notification email. I will also go and do this for the other flows. So remember, you got to do this for both the flows. And just in case if you've forgotten, I'll go and click on the flows. We went and did this for the notification email. Go ahead and do this one over here as well. Okay, in the Kudos share one, Let the thing load on the bottom right, go ahead and click on edit, and in the edit, we are right over here on the top. We are not going to go ahead and actually put in individual ones. We'll just go ahead and actually just type in the PP, and then the information will come in. That's the one. This time it's on the bottom. Select it, click on save, and now you've gone and done the run only users permission, both of the flows. So next thing now we need to do is go ahead and fix the connections, and specifically the connection references. You see that on the top right where it says connection references, we have a red exclamation. That means it has to be fixed. So for the Kudos app, it's a very easy way to fix it. You simply click on edit, go on the edit with designer, and then the first section that pops up over here immediately says, hey, do you just want to continue? Because what it did was it already went ahead and fixed our connection reference. It's just asking, do you want to continue? So I'll just say yes. I'll go and click on the continue. I don't see any errors or anything on the top. The flow checker is good. I'll go and click on save. And now that it is saving, it automatically went ahead and updated the connection reference for this flow, which is the Kudos app, share Kudos with send assign. For this one, it's very easy. Now that this one is saved, let's go ahead and save the second one too. And by the way, at this point, you can actually go ahead and turn it on as well. So I'll just go and turn it on. That way we don't forget about that, or if any future thing I've actually done that, just don't forget about that. See, the fact that it shows me turn off, which means that it is turned on, right? So I'm going to go back now to the flows again, and I can see it is on, right? Because see, this one's still grayed out. This one is highlighted. It is on. But let's go to the Kudos app, because the Kudos app, we got to fix those connection references over here as well. See, we got the regs exclamation marks. But in this case, it is a little bit extra work. So I'll click on the edit. It directly takes me inside the flow. And then over here, once it loads, I get this error, but I see 2 exclamation marks right over there. See, so this is a little different from the previous one. The previous one, right at the pop-up, it gave me the option to go ahead and click continue. I don't see that continue button over here. So what I'll do is I'll expand this one over here, and it's asking me, hey, invalid connection, but I already have some existing connections that I can use. Do you recommend to go and use any one of them? So I can select either one of these, or I can go and click on a new connection reference. That's up to you. So if you don't have any one of them, you can go and create a new connection reference right over here. Or in my case, I'll just go and select that. Moment I do that, the exclamation is gone away, and it's even starting to show me all the fields. I got one more. It is the Outlook one. So I'll select that, and it's asking me, do you want to go and use any one of them? Yeah, I'll go and select one of those things. Again, the error went away, and so now I'll go and basically click on save. See, even the flow checker error went away. This is all great. So now that this is done, just to make sure that I'm seeing a flow checker error, I should only see those as warnings. I should not really see any errors. But let the saving finish, and we'll just go and verify. So it is saved. I go up there. Yep, I just see some warnings. So I'm good over here. I don't really actually see any errors, but I'll go outside now. And then once I'm outside, I'll go ahead and turn it on. Moment I click on turn it on, give it a few seconds, because the next thing you should see is turn it off. This is great. So if I go back now outside, one step outside of the flows, I see that both of these are on, which means we are now done with making sure that the connection references are all set up. Now, the step number 7 is telling you to go ahead and turn on the cloud flows, which we already did. So we'll directly skip step number 7. But step number 8 is another one that I don't want to miss. So if I just go and take a look at it right over here, if you go all the way bottom to the scroll down all the way there, we will see that step number 8 is the one that actually says, hey, do you want to install the sample data? I highly urge you to go ahead and do that, because it starts getting you some information. And I'll tell you why, right? Let's go back to that Power Apps. This is the Kudos app that we have. So I'll just go and click on play. If any error shows up, that's fine. We should not see any of those anyway. I get these connections app permissions. I'll say it's good. I'll just go and click on allow. Everything is good over there. And we go ahead and load into the app itself. The app is looking nice. It's loading. But if I go and click on the get started, right over here, it'll ask me if you want to select somebody. I'll go and sit down and select somebody. And then right over here, it is completely blank. You see the select Kudos type, completely blank. This is why I am urging you to go ahead and actually get that Kudos sample data. So let's go see what this Kudos sample data is. I'll just click on that link, and over here you can go and get 2 data type of files. It is the localization data and the badge data type. These are 2 important things that we actually want to go and do. And therefore, when you get to this point, go ahead and see that video of mine on how to go ahead and use that command line reference or CLI to actually import the data. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go to localization data. I'll click on that. On the top right over there, I'll go and download the raw file. Downloading raw file means it went and downloaded the zip one. Let me just go one step back, and I'll go and do the exact same thing for the batch data. go ahead and download that one as well. We're right over here. If I go and take a look at my downloads folder, you will see that the two of them have shown up over here. This is great. Next things next, I want to go and open up my Visual Studio. So I already see Visual Studio here. I'll just go and click on that. Once you open it up, and if you follow the video of mine, the step-by-step for running the CLI, you should already have the Power Platform add-in. All right, so I'll go and click on that section. Once I've done that, I need to go and do an add profile authentication section. So I'll go and just complete that authentication piece over here. That's when it's done. On the top right, I'll select the terminal, click on the new terminal, or I should already have it on the bottom over here. This is neat. I'll go ahead and put it in this command, which is the pack space tool space CMT. You should be familiar with this if you've seen my other video. I'll go and click on enter. It's a one-time thing, and this command line pops up over here. This is now the user interface. Now, in our case, we already went and downloaded the zip files. So all I need to do is click on the import data, select that radio button, click on continue. All I need to do is click on the login over here. Right at this point, you need to go ahead and make sure you selected the correct environment. So the correct environment that we had was the one that we went and selected, the prod USA. That's the one, all right? Very important that you select that. I'll click on the login. It's going and doing the validation. And now you go ahead and grab those zipped files. So the first zipped file that I'm going to go is the badge data. Go ahead and click on the open. It'll go through the import process. Let it finish the entire importing. You don't want to do anything over here. It's all successful, all green checks. We are good to go. I'll click on the exit, go back again, go through the whole steps, okay? All the things. This time it should move a little faster. Make sure that the environment is the exact same. Go and select the second zip file, click on open, now click on import. Let the importing begin. Now this thing has 68 records. It's a little bit more, but all the green checks are there. So we are good. I'll click on the exit, and now we're actually done with this CLI piece. So I'll go ahead and now just minimize it. But the ultimate test is we go back into the Kudos app, and I'll just do a refresh. All right. So the whole app just loads, which is fine. I'll click on get started. Back to this screen. So I'll just go and say, okay, in this case, I want to go and say, give a congratulations to Finn. I'll click on next. And now you see that the Dataverse table populated because the CLI data came in. And because that Dataverse table got populated, the gallery got populated. So I can now go and start saying, thank you, click on. And then all of these other screens are beginning to make sense because the data is populated. The app is now fully functional. So now the only things that you have left, and we'll go and verify that, is going ahead and now sharing the app. You can go and do that. That's something you're familiar with, going ahead and adding people, the users, the regular users, giving them permissions. And then the step number 10 is optional. You can go and turn on auditing. That is a feature that is available inside the environment. So if you want to go and do that, enterprise level application, you want to go and get some more good data, turning on auditing, it's not a bad idea. Again, it's optional because you don't have to use it. And finally, these are just the last two steps, which is sharing it and turning on the auditing feature. But other than that, the app with all the flows is fully functional in your environment. So like I mentioned in the introduction, this is just a good practice to go through, because even if you don't plan on using this for your apps, going through this exercise really helps you sharpen your overall engineering skills of how a good import process should work through. What are the steps to make sure that the connector and the connection references are working? How to use the CLI to go ahead and actually import data that somebody else gave you, those two zip files, how we were able to do it, and get the app working in your environment. It's a good exercise to kind of sharpen your skill set a little bit. And that's basically all I wanted to do, is walk you through that. You can take the app, you can go ahead and enhance it, or just use it as is. Remember, this is an enterprise level application that is already available for you. You can start leveraging it, keeping in mind that you have the premium level license available. So hopefully this video was useful to you. Hopefully you learned a ton from it. And as always, keep using Power Apps. Hello, hello, hello. So if you like this video, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and smash that like button. Also, if you have a few extra seconds, can you go ahead and put in a comment? Either say something nice or give me ideas for my next video. And until then, see ya.